Hey, listen, here's the deal, is that most of us Americans out here, I'd say 80, 85, 90% of us Americans have the exact same goals in mind. I think that if we really were to sit down and talk about it, I think all of us agree that our parents and our grandparents, that we want them to have access to the Social Security that they've been paying into their entire lives. I think most of us, for our parents and grandparents, as they're aging, we want to make sure that they have healthcare coverage through Medicare so that if they get chronically ill as they age, if they get cancer as they age, as they prepare to complete their lives, I think we would rather not see our parents and grandparents suffering. I think we'd like to make sure that they have access to the top medical care available. I think most of us Americans want our kids to do better than how we're doing. I think that we want to give them a step up in the world. And so that means that they've got access to education. And it means that kids can eat. When kids don't eat, they don't learn. They don't get ahead. They don't develop appropriately. So I think all of us Americans would agree, yeah, kids by and large should be able to have some food, just as a basic thing. I think trade schools, vocational schools, community colleges, I think most Americans would agree that you should be able to have pretty low cost access to that. If you want to be a plumber or an electrician or get into criminal justice, I think most of us would agree that we would like that to be very accessible and affordable for most folk. But I think we also realize, you do need some university access. You do want a doctor that actually goes to med school. You do want an engineer, that actually graduated from a program like at Purdue or something like that. So university access matters as well. I think most Americans agree that, our neighbors, the way that we look around, it's changing a little bit, that we are getting some more diversity. And so we do want to make sure that we're still able to work together cooperatively to make sure that everybody's successful, so that we may want to have, one eye out towards some diversity stuff. I think most Americans would agree on that by and large. I think a lot of us have shared outcomes. Now, when it comes right down to it, it's 2025. Maybe you are against gay marriage. I think that's weird. I don't know why you are, but we might disagree about that. You may think that life begins at conception. I don't, but you might, and that's okay. I think that gender affirming care is a man taking erectile dysfunction medication and coloring his beard and his hair. But you may think that gender affirming care is different, and we may disagree about that, and that's okay. But see, those matters. Those issues, they don't matter in the way that economy, healthcare, education matter. When we're talking about trans folk, it's less than 1% of the population. So I just want to bring us back to our shared goals. A lot of us want to lift up the middle class. A lot of us want, if you go to the job site, we want to make sure that, through things like OSHA, that there's some protection on the job site, so that if, something goes wrong and you get hit over the head with a cinder block, that you'll have some protection when you go and seek healthcare for that. I just think most Americans, when it comes right down to it, we don't want our parents and grandparents to suffer. We want to make sure if you work 40 hours a week, then that's going to afford you a house and food on the table. Most of us want to give our kids a step up in the world. Most of us really want to make vocational schools, trade schools as accessible and affordable as possible. And I think most of us would agree that, we just don't want a bunch of billionaires who are able to then take over federal buildings. That's what's happening. And that's not, it just was what's happening. I think that Elon Musk has access to Treasury Department payment systems. That's just stuff that's happening. And I think most Americans, if we got rid of our tribalism and we stopped trying to be this is all team sports and you're going to cheer on your side, most of us agree, man, that's pretty jacked up. We don't want an unelected private citizen whose citizenship status is under question to be able to then lock federal workers out of federal workplaces. So we can agree broadly on these things. I think that one of the things that the Trump administration has managed to do is to turn Republicans against Democrats. But we are the party of the working class. Now, the party sucks. I'm so mad at the Democratic Party. They have abandoned us. I'm mad. And I've been writing about that and speaking about that. But when it comes right down to it, we still have more credibility in the working class. Then listen, man, billionaires are not the ways to run the country. It's just not the way. Dismantling whole departments, getting rid of USAID, which maintains our reputation in the world, getting rid of the Department of Education, which makes sure that we do have quality education standards in the world, having corporations pay less in taxes than me as a middle-class American. I think just most of us can agree those are not good things. So I understand that Trump is your guy. I get that. He is your dude. I understand that. I see that you look at Musk and you think there is an innovative, successful businessman or something. I understand that that's the rhetoric. What I'm telling you is that what I want are for your kids to eat, your grandparents not to suffer at the end of their lives, that when you go to the job site, that you can earn as much as possible and that you have, insured safety, insurance, access to health care, just as part of you going on the job site. I think that most of us agree, and I agree, that if you work 40 hours a week, that should get you a house and food, period. Bottom line, 40 hours a week, you work a full-time work week, you get house and food. Very few Americans have that today. Many Americans, in order to get a house and food, are working 2 or 3 jobs, okay? We need to reclaim listen, if you look at The Simpsons, I grew up on The Simpsons. I watch The Simpsons all the time. In The Simpsons, man, I don't think Marge worked by and large. Homer was like a technician at a nuclear power plant. And yet they depicted that show as having a family of 5, owning a home. They had a car, right? Those things are inaccessible to most Americans now. So if you ever watched The Simpsons couldn't happen today, okay? And I think that's messed up. And I think that has happened because we have trusted billionaires and corporations rather than trusting the working class. I am telling you, my biggest outcome is to make the working class the ruling class. That's what I'd like to see. I'd like all of DC to be filled with working class people. That would be great for me. I would love that outcome. But I think the bigger picture here is that all of us have very similar shared goals around wages, shared goals around our kids' success in life, shared goals around our parents' and grandparents' dignity as they age and complete their lives, shared goals around infrastructure, around fixing the potholes, around making sure that our bridges that are in the best repair as we transit the supply chain through trucking, et cetera. I mean, all of that is working class stuff, and we're for it. We're about it. And I don't think Elon Musk is about it. So that's my thing to you. I think there's been a purposeful, there's been directed communication to turn a lot of you against people like me, to make you seem like we're the enemy within, or we hate America, or all that stuff. I'm telling you, I love this country. And I come from union roots on both sides of my family. I come from union, working class, collective bargaining. We're the working class in charge, not the people that sign the checks up there. So that's what I'm committed to. Now, you may disagree with my tactics, but I don't think you can disagree with the things that I want, okay? That's all I'm saying. So we got to get back to understanding that in the working class, in the middle class, we have shared goals that have nothing to do with our cultural or religious or whatever ideas, that our shared goals in the working class are in common. Now, we may disagree about how we accomplish those goals, but we have goals in common. So we've got to stop believing, we got to stop buying into the tribal propaganda stuff. And we got to remind ourselves, man, this country was built, well, it was built on the backs of enslaved people, but it was also built on the backs of the working class, okay? The working class has to get up every day. I'm going to go start work. It's 8:57. I like to be online by 9 for my job. So I'm about to go get to work. Do you know who's not working? Everybody just collecting the capital that we're earning for them, right? I love my company and I've been loyal and I've been there 9.5 years. So if you're from my company and you're seeing this, I'm not, okay? I'm bought in. I'm a company man. But I'm doing a different type of labor than what my senior leadership are doing, okay? It doesn't look the same. And I'm kind of doing the nuts and bolts work. You know what I'm saying? And you are too. You're out there you're making the gears go, okay? That's earning them money up there who are the owners, okay? So we just have to understand it's the middle class and the working class that has built this company that continues to, or country, but company's appropriate there, that has built this country and that continues to make this country run. So what I'm telling you is what I want is a strong middle and working class that is pro-union, that can stand up against billionaires and can say, as Americans who work 40 hours a week, we deserve a house, we deserve food, we deserve education, we deserve healthcare. That's if you want to know my big platform, that's my big platform. Pro-union, pro-working class, pro-collective bargaining, you put in 40 hours a week, and that earns you a decent life. That's what I'm for, and I think most Americans are probably for that.